I'd like to bring in Donald SCHWEITZER, who's a former detective with Santa Ana PD. This is what doesn't make sense to me. There are a lot of young mothers. This woman had her child when she was a teenager who don't want the responsibility. They chafe at all the obligations, and they leave the child with the grandparents, and they split. In this case, this young woman took the toddler with her. So it's not like she was really trying to escape the responsibility of having a child, because it would have made sense if she had just left the child with her grandmother. With the grandmother.
Yeah, Jane, there's a lot of things that don't make sense in this case. The first thing you got to think about is that she didn't report this for a month. The second thing is when she's questioned by the police, she makes about 10 different lies that lead the police in the opposite direction. And finally, right now, she could be helping the police. She doesn't have to have that attorney saying that she can't speak because of her Fifth Amendment right. If she wants to find this child, and we want to find her very badly, she could cooperate right now. She doesn't have to hide behind her Fifth Amendment right and the fact that she's charged with some crimes out there. It's better that she go to prison for, 1 year rather than letting her child be at harm's way. And that's why I think that there's something that is really wrong with this case.
Something is fishy in Denmark. JOSE BAEZ, Caylee Anthony's attorney, your response to that criticism.
Well, let me tell you, we have opened the line of communication with law enforcement. What happened in this case was law enforcement basically jumped the gun. Nobody heard about about Caylee's disappearance until after she was arrested, and I think that was a big blunder on police's part by arresting her, thereby cutting off any type of communication where you're going to violate someone's rights. What should have been done is they should have allowed her to stay free, maybe perhaps watch her a little bit longer, see if there's any activity, where she goes, what she's doing, who she's talking with, and in addition to that, she doesn't have to go through a lawyer.
All right, well,
what they did was they arrested
Donald
her.
to respond on that, because he's a former detective. Should they have let her just roam around while they followed her?
Yeah, you could still help the police, sir. You don't have to have her hide behind her Fifth Amendment right. This is a child that's missing, for God's sake. Do whatever you can to help her. Get your client to start talking to the police rather than hiding behind you. There's no need for that.
Well, first of all, I don't think you really know what you're talking about, because we are the ones who actually spoke out to the police. We've asked for the police to come and give us access to a sketch artist where she can actually describe the babysitter and actually go out and put some type of leads out there. But that's not what's happening. Police hasn't contacted us to specifically ask her any questions or to show any evidence.
She lied about where she dropped the child off. Authorities determined that the house where she said she left the child with this mysterious babysitter that apartment was unoccupied for something like 142 days since February 28th. So she's lying about key components of the story.
Some of the representations that were made to the police there's actually a very reasonable explanation for that. But unfortunately, due to the fact that she is facing criminal charges, I can't allow her to specifically lay out her entire defense.
I hear what you're saying. Beth, North Carolina, your question, want to get that in.
Yes, as a grandparent, I cannot understand